welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website firstua.com. Victoria Zabian is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. 3 Ukrainian soldiers died, 9 are wounded. ATO spokesperson A.Lysenko reported that this is the data for the previous day. According to him, positions of Ukrainian soldiers were fired upon 23 times. Militants gathered the equipment and, with the help of Russian soldiers, prepare for the attack on 4th direction: Artemivsk, Donetsk, Volnovakha and Mariupol.
At night, the convoy of tanks, infantry combat vehicles with manpower of illegal armed formations, the concrete number of armed vehicles is being clarified, came into a Pobeda village of Starobeshevsky region in the Donetsk Oblast from the Kumachova town side. The vehicles are parked on the territory of an abandoned farm. The local farmers are ordered to free the storages from seeds.
OSCE representatives will be allocated at all points of ceasefire violation on the eve it was agreed by Normandy 4. The press service of Ukrainian president reports they will begin with 10 settlements where the firings are the most intensive. It is the districts of Luhanska, Avdiivka and Shirokine. The participants of the meeting agreed that inspectors need safe workplace and free access to the territories, and also conditions of checking the places of dislocation with withdrawal equipment. Moreover, Normandy 4 decided that OSCE mission will publish their reports about the ceasefire. At the same time, Petro Poroshenko, Angela Merkel and Francois Hollande tried to persuade Vladimir Putin to release Ukrainian pilot Nadia Savchenko immediately, and President of Ukraine underlined the necessity of release all the captives. Pro-Russian terrorists do not let enough access for OSCE observers, it was said by the spokesperson of White House, George Ernest. According to him, representatives of international organizations still cannot trace where militants withdraw the heavy armament from Donbass. This is the main point of Minsk agreements.
We continue to see that while there are some preliminary reports of some heavy weapons being withdrawn, that there continue to be efforts by the separatists and the Russians to prevent the OSCE monitors from evaluating exactly where those weapons are being withdrawn to. And it's important to remind everybody, including those who signed the agreement apparently, that Russia and the separatists are supposed to allow the OSCE monitors full and unfettered access to areas of conflict.
There will be the Constitution Commission in Ukraine. The order had been signed by President. The text is already at his website. Except the experts, government wants to encourage the representatives of different political forces and civil society to work on the main law of the country. It is proposed to Speaker of the Parliament to head the Constitutional Commission. The institution will be assembled with special necessity, but not more rarely than one time per 2 months. Decision will be made by majority of votes. Ukrainian Parliament will consider the law projects.
We must maintain the wholeness and the national unity of Ukraine. We must leave no chance to those who have striven for so-called federalization, but in reality they want to divide Ukraine. It takes a referendum conduction, and we, the Ukrainian nation, and I, as a president, ready for this. The process is bringing changes to our constitution has started.
Model Hanna Duritska, who was with Boris Nemtsov when he was killed already in Kiev. He had come to Boryspil airport in the night from Moscow. Journalist of Hromadske TV, Serhiy Grishin, had written the social network that the girl went through the back door entrance. Only her advocate had met with the press. Vadim Prokhorov, he represented her interests during the court procedure in Russia. He told that at once Hanna could not leave Moscow because of the investigation procedure, but not because she is suspected in something. Ms. Duritska completely assists in investigation and ready to participate in additional investigations actions if it is necessary.
As her lawyer, I claim that Anna Duritska has shown a full cooperation to the Russian investigation. We spent nearly 3 days in cooperation with the Russian Investigation Committee, and she has provided an exhaustive information regarding the final hours that she spent with Nemtsov. It were the final hours of life of my friend. She shows full cooperation in everything, but unfortunately, some obstacles were created for her return home. Fortunately, it's now in the past.
President of Ukraine Petro Poroshenko had awarded Boris Nemtsov with Order of Liberty posthumously. In the memory of Ukrainian people, Boris Nemtsov stayed as a person for whom freedom was the universal value, and that he had proved his life that it's possible to be at the same time a patriot of Russia and friend of Ukraine, written at the website of the head of the state. Killing of Boris Nemtsov is the evidence of civil rights violation in Russia. It was said by Barack Obama. According to words of American President, freedom in press and also limited in Russia. There is a clear climate inside their state when someone threatens independent journalists and people get the information only from governmental sources. American President encourages to investigate the killing of the politician. Mr. Obama met Boris Nemtsov in Russia and other Russian oppositioners in Moscow in 2009. Because of the Russian invasion to Ukraine and strengthening of military presence of the occupant at the peninsula, Crimea can have not only problems with nuclear weapons, but with chemical one as well. All details about the new coming problems at the annexed territory in our special story next.
In December 2014, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation Sergei Lavrov stated that Russia can place the nuclear weapon in Crimea before the opening of the next health resort season and crawling militarization of peninsula by Russian occupiers. Locals afraid of the following decrease of the quantity of tourists. The bigger number of machinery and weapon also influences badly the environment, including the problems of storing the chemical weapon in the water areas of Crimea. In any second, the whole Crimean coast can become an ecological disaster zone. Barrels with chemical weapons were flooded along the peninsula during the Great Patriotic War. After 70 years, the metal is rusted through completely. Some places are already dangerous to swim at. Any storm or a slight earthquake can lead to the real disaster. Story by A.Yahno Ivanychenko. To explore the secrets of the Black Sea, thousands of diving lovers are coming to Crimea. Objects that were flooded during the Great Patriotic War times are the special interest. Transport ships and tracked airplanes. But instead of treasures of the underwater world, tourists frequently discover deadly dangerous things. They seem like barrels and contain militant chemical mixtures. You can literally make a hole using your finger in those rusty tanks. In autumn in 1941, when Hitler people captured the northern part of the peninsula, the Soviet command was to destroy all the existing resources of the chemical weapon. The order had been executed in a hurry. Bombs filled in ypirite and leucite were thrown to the sea. Till now, there is no success in defining all the places of flooding the containers with the military poison substances. Today it became clear that there is a risk that Crimea, traditionally popular among Russians, can be added to the number of health resorts that are frightful to go to, following Egypt and Tunisia. Crimean authorities refuse to admit that and blame journalists in an attempt to disrupt the tourist season. Here is the only investigation of our journalists. Only in the end of February, in the beginning of March, Yalta's embankment can be so empty. No tourists or pleasure boat captain agreed to take part in this expedition. We don't need to sail far away. Black Sea secrets we're interested in are very close to the coastline. Diver goes only 30 meters under the water. Here it is sludge tank that has a deadly threat in it. Those stories were on Central Russian channels several years ago. Governmental program of utilization of chemical weapon in Ukraine wasn't finished because of occupation. This is what Crimean ecologists say about this. Containers with ypirite and leucite could hold 100 liters, L100, and they should have been used as air bombs as well as 200 liters tank, L200. There were also L400 that should have been used for filling the L100 and L200 containers. Around the Crimea, including the Kerch Strait, up to 1,200 containers. In 2010, the warranty period of keeping the continuity of those containers has expired. The content will pour out because the specific mass is bigger than the seawater. They pour out in the bottom that will look like aspic, let's say, the cloth of Masud. But if all of a sudden there is a storm weather and this will be thrown to the shore and that, for example, ypirite will vaporize, then very serious consequences will be in the radius up to 30 kilometers. Consequences connected, let's say, with at least affection of the human airways, etc. In this way, Crimea, apart from the problems with the nuclear weapon, can also get problems with chemical one, and instead of being a health resort, it can be transformed into contaminated military ground under the Russian flag.
whole winter just in the weather. Veterinaries had found out 60 sheep in mountains of Iceland. They had gone from the local farm in autumn. The owner even did not hope that they are alive and was going to buy new ones in March. About the loan coming back home in our following story.
A traveler ship is running away from the helicopter in haste. No wind, no snow can hinder her from doing so. It's one of those 60 ships which were spotted during the airborne monitoring. The veterinarians have flown over almost all of Iceland while searching. This furry bunch has walked away several kilometers from the farm. All winter they traveled through the mountains and ended up at one of the sea gulf. The owners planning the evacuation operation. We will try to take the ship as soon as possible. The weather is on our side, snow is melting, so we can graze them at home. Another option is to transfer them by boat. Sheep usually don't run away from the Iceland farms. There is no shortage of food and water there. During summertime, they graze freely, and in winter they're kept in barns. Last several winters were quite good, but in the end of this year it got worse. The sheep ran away because there is good grass on fjord, and it wasn't difficult for them to get there. 5,000 sheep in Iceland, which is more than people. This is a family business, meat, skin and wool. It's all sold in local markets and it is shipped abroad. But the destiny of the traveling ship has not been defined by the owner yet.
It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website firstua.com. Victoria Zabiyan was working for you in the studio. Wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.